हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your kind association. Let us get started with our study of Jaiva Dharma. Today we will be completing chapter 7. Let us begin with our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्तसरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवार्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः. माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्री रूपानुग भक्तिद श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते. नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्ध सिद्धांत ध्वांतहारिणे नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षाद् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भ रसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः. नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते. गौराविर्भाव भूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सज्जन प्रिय वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः. नमो ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गो ब्राह्मण्य हिताय च जगद्हिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरि जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्णो गतिर्मम. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण. श्रील भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर महाशय की जय. श्री जैव धर्म की जय. लेट मी शेयर माय स्क्रीन. हरे कृष्ण. We are supposed to start from slide number 94. I hope all of you are able to see the screen. We are studying the conversation between Shri Yadav Das, Shri Chandidas, who are inquiring from Shri Ananta Das Babaji Maharaj, who is a very exalted Gaudiya Vaishnava living in Godrum Dweep, with the likes of Shri Prem Das Paramahamsa Babaji, Shri Vaishnava Das Babaji Maharaj, Shri Lahiri Mahasaya, and others. So Yadav Das was asking many questions about samsara, this material existence. And Shri Ananta Das Babaji Maharaj gave very comprehensive answers to all those questions. In the previous session, we discussed about Babaji Bhesh or Sannyas Bhesh, who is qualified to become a Griha Tyagi, who is qualified to renounce householder life and accept the renounced order of life, and who can give such the garb of a renunciant. Who can give Bhesh? Who can give sannyas? Who can give Babaji Bhesh? That also we saw. After this conversation, Shri Yadav Das turns to his companion and says, "Dear Chandidas, has your question been answered?" Remember what the original question was in chapter 7. The question was, what is this samsar? And this whole chapter explained that. So now Yadav Das is asking his Shiksha disciple, you can call, because Chandidas was studying from Yadav Das. Has your question about samsar been answered? And Shri Chandidas replied, yes, I was able to assimilate the following from the wonderful spiritual teachings by the most respectable Shri Anantadas Babaji Maharaj. Now he is going to summarize what he was able to grasp from the conversation. This is important. When we attend a class, after the class, if someone asks us, what did you understand from today's class? We should be able to give a summary. We should be able to encapsulate the salient points that we have gathered from the class. What did we comprehend? What was the take-home message? We must be able to articulate that. And that happens when we hear attentively and we do manan. Shravanam and mananam. Both are important. Shravanam means to listen carefully to the speaker of spiritual knowledge, and mananam means to contemplate, to reflect, to think what we have received today in the class. Both the processes are important. Actively, attentively listening, and then reflecting and meditating and contemplating what we just heard. Shravanam and mananam. And we can see that our Chandidas ji was a first-class listener. He was able to grasp, and he is going to summarize what he learned from this chapter. Jiva, having forgotten, please listen very attentively, my dear friends. This is the summary of the whole chapter. Chandidas says, I learned that Jiva, having forgotten that he is an eternal servant of Shri Krishna, the Jiva forgets that I am Krishna Das. Actually, Jivara Swarup hai Krishna Nityadas, but the Jiva forgets that he is Krishna Das. Krishna bhuliya se jiv, anadi bahirmukh, ataiva maya tare deha samsar dukh. The Jiva forgets that he is eternal servant of Shri Krishna. Jiva means we, you and me, we. We forget that we are eternal servants of Shri Krishna. And then the Jiva accepts the material body. We have all accepted material body. And under the influence of the three gunas, the three material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, sattva gun, rajagun, and tamogun, he begins to try to exploit this world. We try to enjoy this world, always under the influence of the three modes of material nature. In return for this exploitation of this world for enjoyment, the Jiva is rewarded with pain and enjoyment both. Because if we are in the mode of passion and ignorance, it will lead to pain. If we are in the mode of goodness, it will lead to happiness in this world. So as we work in this world towards our enjoyment, we are rewarded both pain and enjoyment. Everybody wants enjoyment, but we get both. We get pain as well as enjoyment. In his attempt to enjoy the results of his action, we perform activities and actions in this world, hoping that these activities will result in enjoyment. So in his attempt to enjoy the results of his action, the Jiva is forced to accept birth, disease, old age, and finally death. So whatever activities we do in this world for enjoyment, they bind us to this world. And we have to take birth again and again in this world. For example, I may do good karma hoping that in my next life I will be very wealthy. So I will be born as Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Anil Ambani or no, Mukesh Ambani. These all these big people, and to enjoy that kind of lifestyle, I will get the wealth that I desired. But the problem is, I have to take a birth. And then, as a multimillionaire, I perform karma, which will further produce more births in this world. And if I do good karma, I may become even richer in my next life or even go to heaven. But Shine Punya Martyalokam Vishanti. When the Punya gets exhausted, we again fall down. Or if we do vikarma, we do sinful activities, and sinful activities are very, very likely. You simply eat food that has not been offered to Krishna, that is agham pap. Bhunyadatitva agham papaya pachanti atma karanat. Bhagavad Gita says. Simply eating food that has not been offered to Krishna is sin. And if you commit sin, then in the next life we'll have to suffer. Avashyameva bhuktavyam kritam karma shubhashubham. So we enjoy and we suffer. But our karma inevitably binds us to this world and makes repeated birth, death, old age, disease mandatory for us. And the more we take births in this world, the more karma we accrue. It's like a credit card. You use it more, you're going to accrue more and more debt. And then you have to pay. And the credit card will give some rewards also. But the rewards are only because you're spending. You have to pay. There is no free money. So he goes through many lives, sometimes with a high birth, sometimes in a very privileged birth, a rich industrialist family. We discussed few contemporary names. Sometimes with a low birth. Or we may be born in a third world country. Or we may be born on the streets as homeless or in a slum. And finally, death. But each time the soul is covered by new false ego. And every time we take birth, we get a new false ego. Sometimes we think, I belong to this dynasty. I belong to this family. I belong to this country. Next time we take a birth as someone else, and then we have a different false ego. False ego means false identification of who I am. True ego means to understand that I am Krishna Das. Like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada told Subhash Chandra Bose, you are fighting, it's good to fight for Swaraj, but you are saying that give away your brahmacharis to me to recruit in the national army. That is not appropriate because my brahmachari students are doing something higher, whereas you are running the risk of becoming a British, an Englishman in your next life. What are you saying, Swamiji? Yes. Because all the time you're thinking of British, you will fight with them thinking of them. I have to kill the British, I have to kill the British, I have to finish off the British, I have to drive away the British, I have to defeat them. And because you're always thinking of the British, when you die in your next life, next life you may be born in England. That was a shock to Subhash Chandra Bose. Because nationalism is very good on one level, but it still comes under Vyavaharik Kriya, not under Paramarthik Kriya. Because nationalism also is a type of false ego. Actually, we all belong to Krishna. Not to India, not to Pakistan, not to Bangladesh, not to America, not to Israel or Palestine or Europe or Africa, Australia. No. We belong to Krishna, Achyut Gotra. That is true ego. So every time we are covered with a new false ego. The Jiva is driven to protect his fragile mortal body. Our body is very fragile and it is prone to destruction, but still we work so hard to protect our body. We do annual physicals, we check our PSA level, we go through mammograms and pap smear and colonoscopy and hemoglobin A1C testing and lipid panel testing and body mass index testing, and we join gym and lose weight and try different diets and go to the primary care physician, go to so many specialists. We discuss so much about good health, we buy organic food, we try to eat fresh, we do so many things just to protect this mortal body from the ravages of hunger and thirst. He has to suffer in many ways because of an imbalanced distribution and unavailability of essential commodities. And you really see in this world now what is happening to the people living in the Gaza Strip. Barely there is any water, no food, no electricity, bombs. And same thing happened in Israel. They were just enjoying a music festival in the morning, and suddenly there are bombs going off, guns firing bullets at them, and people are getting murdered, people are getting kidnapped. This is how this world is, my dear friends. And you study the history of any country, study the history of India. The Mughals exploited Bharat. The Britishers came and exploited Bharat. The Portuguese came. So many people came, and just always there is exploitation. And then the politicians came, and they are doing the same thing, exploiting the country. You study the history of America, there is civil war, and there are so many World War I and World War II, and thousands of people are dying. In this world, there is always imbalance, upadhrota. Always there is disturbance and imbalance, even of essential commodities. Even today, hunger is a problem in America, which is considered to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. In Atlanta itself, every day we are feeding hundreds of homeless people who go hungry on the streets, even in America, in a prosperous city like Atlanta. There is homelessness, there is hunger, there is poverty. In all countries, it's there. This is samsara, my dear friends. His body is under constant siege from the various and inevitable distresses. Nobody wants to fall sick, but diseases come and they afflict us, and we have to face them in this world. Everybody does. Insufferable quarrels and disputes with wife and children sometimes drive him to commit suicide. This is also seen very commonly. You just look up the national statistics wherever you live, whether you live in India or America or Canada. Just look up the statistics. How common is divorce? How common is depression? How common is suicide? It's a measure of how we are doing as a society. People committing suicide, that means life has become so intolerable that there is nothing more to look forward to in life, and you really prefer to just die. He is forced by greed for money to commit many sinful activities. Many times we don't want to do illegal activities, but people do it for money. They evade tax. They do play various tricks to minimize their tax burden, and so many illegal activities, falsification of expenses, so many things we do in business also, so many things we do to make more money. And we may think that, wow, I'm so smart. I saved so much money by doing this clean, neat trick. I'm a smart businessman. But do we realize that yes, we saved some money, we made some money, we became richer, but do we realize that we have just been defeated? By who? By the anartha called greed, lobh. We evaded the tax, we made more money, we made more profit, yes, and our friends may think we are very smart and successful, but are we realizing that we just failed? We have just been defeated by an anartha that we are supposed to overcome, and that is called lobh. Trividham narakashyedam dwaram nashanam atmana kama krodha tatha lobhastasmade tatrayam tyajet. Hare Krishna. Who cares if people of this world say we are successful and smart? What are we in the eyes of Krishna? What are we in the eyes of the Guru and Sadhu and Shastra? Shastra says that we are doing it out of greed for money, ending up by being punished by the law. Sometimes we are caught and we are punished by the law, becoming a pariah of society. Pariah means really pariah in Hindi, reject, someone who has been rejected, and thus bringing upon himself untold misery. And so many miseries come in this life when there are reversals in life. There is no relief from anxiety and lamentation brought about by death in the family. Sometimes there is death in the family. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable in this world. Children may get cancer, children may suffer some sudden accident. Young people die in accidents. We had a doctor, came from India, did residency here, worked for a few years on H-1B visa, became a partner, just got his green card, became a partner in the practice. Partner means he had 30, 40 doctors working for his group under him. And they were 8 people partners and making huge profits, making more than $1 million a year. And just bought a big mansion, multi-million-dollar mansion, expensive car. Wife was a housemaker, 2 kids in private school, because he was making close to 2 million, 1.5 to 2 million every year. 500,000 was his salary and 1 million was his profit, his bonus from the practice, because he was a partner. So he could afford. So he had just very young, maybe 38, 39 years old, was coming home from his clinic one evening. As he turned into the highway, took the ramp to the highway, oncoming 18-wheeler truck hit him and he died right there in his expensive sports car. Died on the spot. Hare Krishna. Wife is a homemaker. There is a huge mortgage. Kids are in private school. So many expenses. And suddenly the only bread earner is finished, gone. No more income coming in now. It's a horrible situation. Anything can happen. Old people die of stroke, cancer, heart attacks, accidents. There is no relief from anxiety and lamentation. This is just not pessimism. This is the reality of this world. And attacks by rogues. So many home invasions are happening. So many dacoities, burglaries are happening around the world. Loss of wealth, either through wrong investments. We put money in stocks and we lose money, and so many other things. Wrong investments. Even in old age, sorrows accompany him when his family members neglect his needs. And then we see many times we get old and the children who we have taken care of, now they are not able to reciprocate. I mean, look at us. How many of us are able to reciprocate with our parents? We are here in US, parents are in India, not able to do much. This is samsara, my dear friends. We are just helpless. We can only do so much. Some things we can control, some things we cannot control. And the things that we cannot control outnumber the things that we can control, which means overall, we are not in control. But the false ego wants to be in control. We want to control our death. We want to control our health. We want to control our enjoyment. We want everything under our control. Everything should happen according to our plan. I plan to retire at 60. I plan to have so many millions of dollars when I retire. We plan, we plan, we plan. Steve Jobs also planned, and he had more money than all of us, perhaps put together. 45 of us put together. Best healthcare in the US, best doctors. And he was a good person, and there's nothing he could do against the cancer. He succumbed. George Harrison succumbed. John F. Kennedy succumbed. Indira Gandhi succumbed. Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated. This is just look at this world. These are not some fictional figures. These are actually people that we have experience of in our lifetime. Look at India. I mean, just growing up. I grew up in India hearing one thing after the other. Rajiv Gandhi murdered. Mr. Sindhya died in an air crash. Mr. Pilot died in a road accident. Mr. Jijkar died in a road accident. These are all famous personalities, ministers. Who was that recently? Gopinath Munde died in a road accident in Delhi. So these are not just fictional stories. This is how the world is. Padam, padam, vipadam. That's the nature of this world. So, and we make it to old age, and then family members neglect, and we feel heartbroken. Rheumatic and phlegmatic. Phlegmatic means respiratory problems. Rheumatic means orthopedic problems. Orthopedic and respiratory problems trouble us. Sometimes pneumonia, aspiration, cough, joint pains, arthritis, and the body gradually degenerates. Recently, one person was asking me, have you been to Badrinath? Have you been to Kedarnath? I said, no. I said, now is the time you go. When you become my age, you may want to go, but you will not be able to go because your body will not support you. Body will give so many ailments. After that, the sojourn in the next mother's womb is at every moment a harrowing and excruciating experience. And then we'd go through all this life and we'd die, only to take birth again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam, punarapi janani, jathare shayanam, iha samsare, bahudustare, kripaya pare, pahi murare. Only Krishna can save us. Combined with all this suffering, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy smother the conscience and sense of discrimination into obscurity. We lose our way of buddhi because of kam, krodh, lobh, moha, mad, matsarya. Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, false ego. This is samsara, material existence. Hare Krishna. Now I have properly grasped the purport of the word samsara. I repeatedly fall at the feet of all the assembled Babajis. The Vaishnavas are the real gurus of this world, and today, by their mercy, I have gained the actual understanding of samsara. The entire assembly of Vaishnavas burst out loudly, uttering Harinam and praising Sri Anantadas Babaji Maharaj for his perspective and his amazing spiritual analysis. This is the gratitude we should have. Then Sri Lahiri Mahashaya began to sing a song he had composed himself. E ghora samsare padiya manava napaya dukhera shesha sadhu sanga kori hari bhaje jadi tabe antahaya klesha. E ghora samsare padiya manava na paya dukhera shesh. Na paya dukhera shesh. There is no end to the jiva suffering. Iha ghora samsare padiya manava. After falling into the dark well of samsara. Very pessimistic. No, there is a solution also. Sadhu sanga kori. However, if he associates with the sadhu gurus, with the saintly advanced devotees, and hari bhaja yadi, if he does hari bhajan, if he surrenders to Supreme Lord Shri Hari and worships Lord Hari, chants Harinam, tabe antahaya klesh, then all the klesh will come to an end. What a beautiful verse this is. E ghora samsare padiya manava na paye dukhera shesha sadhu sanga kori hari bhaje jadi tabe antahaya klesha. Then he puts a stop to his distress. Tabe antahaya klesh. All the klesh will go. Why? What? Two things. Sadhu sanga kori and hari bhaja jadi. If we worship Hari and we associate with the sadhu gurus, then our klesh will be over. Vishaya anale jwali che hridaya anale bade anala aparadha chhadi laya Krishna nama anale padaye jala. This material life means, what is samsara? What is material life? It simply means being consumed by a fire. Samsara davanala. Every morning we start. Samsara davanala. Dava means forest, anala means fire. Forest fire. This material life means being consumed by a fire. Vishaya anale. Where all material endeavors are fuel for the fire. When the incinerated jiva jwali che hridaya anale bade anala. When the incinerated jiva who has been consumed by the fire, when he takes up chanting the transcendental holy name of Krishna, Laya Krishna Nam, and gives up all offenses, which means criticizing devotees, disobeying the Guru, maintaining material attachments, performing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. When one gives up these offenses, aparadha chadi, lay Krishna Nam, when we chant Krishna Nam offenselessly, anale padaye jal. Then this jal, this merciful rain, falls on the anala, on the fire, and puts it out, extinguishes it. Hari Bol. Nitai Chaitanya Charana Kamale Ashraya Lai Lai कालिदास बोले जीवने मरणे आमार आश्रय से. Kalidas, also Lahiri Mahashay's name, Kalidas is also his name. I, Kalidas, consider those who have taken shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nitai Chaitanya Charan Kamale Ashraya Laila Jai. Those who have taken shelter of Gaur Nitai, I say, Lahiri Mahashay says, Kalidas says, Jivane Marane Amar Ashray Sei. Such a person is my only safe sanctuary in this life. The Vaishnavas who are Gaur Nitai Ashrit, I take their shelter. They are my ashray. Sri Lahiri Mahashay is saying. So beautiful. Sri Chandidas was extremely moved by the words of the song of Sri Lahiri Mahashay, and he began to dance along. As Mahashay was singing, he was dancing. Chandidas was dancing. At the end, he fell like a stick. Dandavat Pranam at the feet of all the Babaji. Sri Premdas Paraham's Babaji, Sri Vaishnadas Babaji, Sri Lahiri Mahashay. He sanctified himself by applying the dust from their feet upon his head. Recently, we saw the video that has become very popular on social media, on Facebook and WhatsApp. Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj offering obeisances to Param Puja Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And you see in the video, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj with his right hand, he touches the lotus feet of Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and puts on his head. This is the perfection of life. He sanctified himself by applying the dust from their lotus feet upon his head, beginning to roll upon the ground and crying in joy. Chandidas. Now, remember Chandidas' life story. He had been such a materialistic person, so selfish, never served Vaishnava, never gave donation, was a miser, was just hoarding money all his life, until his children ill-treated him and then drove him out of the house. And somehow he met Yadav Das and started hearing from him Sri Chaitanya Mangal and Prem Vivarta of Sri Jagadananda Pandit, started reading these two books and then understood the importance of Hari Bhajan, started chanting Hari Nam, started doing Vaishnav Seva, gave up his miserliness, and by the mercy of his Shiksha Guru, Sri Yadav Das, now he is in the presence of the Mahabhagavats. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Kahe, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hai. Now see, he is dancing and rolling in joy, crying in joy. He never experienced this in all his life. All his money, all his wealth, all his business could not give him this, what he's getting as a kinchan. After a while, Sri Yadav Das said softly to Sri Chandidas, "Come, let us return. We must cross over the Ganga." Chandidas replied humorously, "If you will take me across the material ocean, across samsara, I will certainly accompany you." Yadav Das is reminding his friend Chandidas, "We have to go, we have to cross Ganga. It's getting late." And then he said, "Oh, you take me across the material ocean, then I will come with you." Because they just spoke about samsara. Together they offered their dandavats to Sri Pradyumna Kunj, where all the Babajis lived, and came out of the entranceway where they saw Chandidas's wife Damayanti. Remember, she could not come because they were all Babajis, renunciants. So she had to wait outside. So they saw Damayanti offering repeated obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. She also heard, standing outside and offering obeisances to them. She said, "Alas, why was I born as a woman? Why was I born as a woman? If I were a man, I could unhesitatingly go inside the Kunj, behold the lotus feet of the Vaishnava sadhus, and offer my dandavats, thus fulfilling the purpose of this human life. My wish is that birth after birth I may serve the Vaishnavas in Navadvipaha." What a bhav this is. Prati janme kori asha charane radhuli नरोत्तमे को हृदया अपनार बोली प्रति जन्मे कोरी आश चरणेर धूली नरोत्तमे को हृदया अपनार बोली. This is Narottam Thakur's prayer. तादेर चरण से भी भक्त सनेवास जनमे मोरी ए अभिलाष. Birth after birth may I serve the Vaishnavas in Navadvip. Ādi Gadādhara said, "O mother, this Godrum Dham is extremely sacred. As soon as one enters, one is rewarded with pure bhakti." In Godrum played our beloved Sri Shashinandan Gaurahari, Nimai. This was the village of the cowherd men, Gopapalli. Knowing the glories of this place, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur Goswami has prayed in his Sri Navadvip Shataka, verse number 36. Naloka Vedo Dhritamarga Bhedair Avishya Sankleshya Tadare Vimudha Hathena Sarvam Pariritya Gaude Shri Godrume Parna Kutim Kurudhvam. Vah. O foolish Jiva, Re Vimudha, O foolish Jiva, by taking shelter of the society and taking shelter of the Vedas, you have tried out so many religious paths, but they have only brought you distress. Now listen to me. Renounce these uncertain methods. Hathena Sarvam Pariritya Gaude. Give up and immediately go to Gaudadesh. Immediately go to Godrum. Shri Godrume, build a thatched hut for yourself. Parana kutim. Just with leaves, you make a kutir. And you live there. You live there in Godrum Dvip. The three of them, Shri Chandidas, his wife, Shri Damayanti, and their Shiksha Guru, Shri Ādi Gadādhara Dāsa, they returned to Kuliagram after crossing the Ganga. A wonderful transformation took place in Chandidas and his wife Damayanti Devi from that day on. They began exhibiting the Vaishnava mood and qualities, and it appeared that material life could no longer touch them. Aha! Vishaya chhadiya kabe shuddha habe mana kabe amaheri bo Shri Vrindavana. They began exhibiting the Vaishnava mood and qualities, and it appeared that material life could no longer touch them. Could no longer touch them. All their time was taken up in serving the Vaishnavas, chanting Harinam and doing acts of mercy to all living beings. Jive doya name ruchi Vaishnava seva. Eitin chhadi dharma nahi shuno sanatan. How wonderful was this newly changed Vaishnava couple. What immense potency there is in the mercy of a Vaishnava. All glories to Krishna Nam. All glories to the sacred land of Sri Navadvip Dham. Thus ends the 7th chapter of Sri Jaiva Dharma entitled Nitya Dharma and Samsar, Material Existence. Hare Krishna. So this is the 7th chapter is over. Now we will end the recording and we'll restart the recording. We'll start the 8th chapter. I see Karuna, so that it will be easy. Otherwise,